With the American triple header on its way, it's time for the Mexican GP. After the confusing results from the US GP on Sunday, it's not very clear what to expect for the Mexican GP, with the only team that didn't bring upgrades absolutely flying through the field. Mercedes having a nightmare of a season ever since Zandvoort, Red Bull seemingly back on top for the most part, and by Red Bull I do mean Max here. It seems like McLaren has taken a page out of Aston Martin by bringing downgrades to the US GP. Well, it seems like it's all up for grabs in Mexico, with any of the top 4 teams being able to take victory. And there are a few things I would like to think are important to look out for during this GP. Mainly, is Red Bull really back on top, and is the Ferrari actually faster? And was the McLaren's lack of pace a one-off situation where they didn't dial in their new upgrades carefully? Also, with Lawson showing his incredible pace back in the US GP, even catching the attention of the 20-year-older Magic Alonso, I wouldn't be surprised if we do see some commotion down at the Red Bull garage regarding Perez and his future stands in his heat. With Mexico not being a sprint weekend, it will be interesting to see if the extra practice sections let teams dial in their upgrades more, and maybe we see the actual true pace of every car. However, we do need to keep in mind that Mexico is really high in altitude, so teams that normally use a lot of downforce may struggle here, and get ready to see the biggest rear wings of the season. We're also not expecting any team to bring any more upgrades for the rest of the season, with the US GP being the final upgrade destination for teams, with only 5 races remaining now, and so now it is a matter of dialing in these upgrades or removing downgrades. As far as the championship is concerned, it will take a lot of luck for Lando to have a shot at the championship. Not only did Red Bull come back, but it seems like McLaren's pace fell in the Austin GP. So with only 5 races remaining, Lando needs to outperform Max by more than 10 points per race. This would mean Lando would need to win every race, but also Max would need to fall quite far down the grid for this to be possible. And at the current pace of Max, it seems quite unlikely, especially with how inconsistent McLaren is at scoring points. Ever since the massive upgrade in Miami where Lando got his first victory, this was the point where the McLaren car was officially the most dominant car in the field, even surpassing Red Bull. However, even after having the most dominant car, McLaren kept losing points to Red Bull due to lack of being a good team. Bad strategies, obviously lots of bad luck involved as well, but not taking their opportunity in certain situations and seriously not prioritizing Lando for many situations have made this championship almost impossible for them to win. And at this point, I think most teams are looking more forward for the 2025 season than they are for the current season. So do I think that this is the last race for Perez? With the way that the RB team sacked Ricciardo in such an inhuman way, I wouldn't be surprised to see a very familiar situation with Perez. I know he has a multi-year contract with Red Bull, however lots of rumors have suggested that there are clauses in this contract that could let Red Bull fire Perez. Look, I'm not saying it's improbable, but if any team were to do this, it would be Red Bull. Especially with the way that Liam Lawson is performing, if he scores highly in the Mexican GP, maybe even outscoring Perez, we could see Red Bull trying to see his performance in the actual dominant car and switch him out with Perez. What would happen to Liam Lawson's seat? Well, I'm not quite sure here. Maybe they decide to switch the drivers out and have Perez in the RB and compare him to Tsunoda. But with the 5 races remaining left anyways, I'm pretty sure that Red Bull will have to make a decision quickly if they want to maintain Perez or not for the 2025 season. And Liam Lawson knows this, and that's why he has to perform in every one of these last races to guarantee an F1 seat for 2025.